This is an inside look about the behind the scenes of how we took our musical online and developed character monologues based on the characters of our musical, and artwork and set design and costumes, all online, all by the students.
What is the difference between performing in the theater and creating video of your monologue?
Personally, just makes you work more on your face and your words, how you deliver words, which I feel like is also an important skill.
On the theater, you can only do it once, but you can have mistakes. But if you take videos, you can take multiple videos with many mistakes in them until you get it perfect.
I had more time to figure out my monologue and memorize it. It was more easy on me because if I mess up, I could film it again. But it was also kind of hard because I had to create everything.
And it's not really, with the backgrounds and stuff like that.
In the other shows, you give me the costume and I learn the lines and the choreography. So it was nice.
When you're on the stage, you usually have lots of room and you can express things, make it big, but with your body. I feel like with this monologue, I had to stay in one place the entire time. So I had to make sure that I was really acting through my words and my face, which is something very important.
I felt like I had a lot of creative choices that I could go through with my character. With the script, because it's already written, you can make changes to your character's attitude, but not to the word that they are saying. And I like that the monologue, you could decide what they got to say.
What was it like creating the monologues?
When you create the monologues, it's not like the lines. You actually have to really think about it. And I thought about, since I did my role as Arnelius, the Atlantean, I thought of her role when a few years later, now she has a daughter and she's ready to share the story.
So instead of sharing on the stage, you've created video footage of yourself, and you've written your own monologues.
Yes.
So your characters are all of a sudden much deeper than when you didn't have these characters that you'd written.
For Captain Zorb, I kind of wanted to show a different side of Captain Zorb because most of the time she's really happy or very funny. So I kind of wanted to bring out a side that was more vulnerable and more, I guess, raw. She's basically blaming herself for the fact that she didn't prevent the space race, and she's feeling bad because she was supposed to rule the kingdom like her parents did, and they said you were gonna do such an amazing job, and then here she was with a handful of people and the rest of them are dead. And so she kind of feels really bad about herself, and she feels very disappointed in herself, and she's worried that if her parents were there, how would they feel? And for the one who fixes broken things, I kind of feel like she's very empathetic. She knows each of the Atlanteans, they're suffering very well. So I would kind of feel like she would have to experience something like that. But I really didn't want to create a whole big story of her past. So I actually started this scene with her waking up in an ocean randomly at 3 years old in a basket.
When I was trying to come up with something for my monologue, I was just thinking about what if I was a Martian and I was stuck on Mars and I had to wear oxygen patches, how I would feel if I wanted to breathe fresh air. Yeah, I just added some creative things in there, I added a pet.
I feel like my character is just super upset, and she doesn't like the way that they're living with all of the oxygen patches and everything that's happening. And she feels like the humans are just being selfish and that they're being just so rude to the Martians.
Yeah.
Martian story is about a bunch of Martians who were zapped by accident were zapped by some rays. So these rays turned them into oxygen breathing beings.
How did the Martians come to the point where they weren't able to breathe on Mars without oxygen patches?
Oh, you're making me explain my science fiction here.
That they got zapped by rays because they had a fight with the people from the aliens from the moon.
Yeah, like maybe it was like some bad guy space alien just shot them with rays and booted them off Mars, so then he would become the leader of Mars.
Was that guy Captain Zorp?
Why would I shoot people?
Exactly. Like,
but nobody knows about your backstory. You could be like some sort of like double agent.
No,
something.
I sent my monologue. It's there. It's there. I am a good person. I'm a good human being. I only have.
You could secretly be against us.
I am not against you at all. No. I am a nice person.
Julia, which song is your favorite song and why?
Well, I'm an Atlantean, so I actually like the Atlantean song because it's very like deep and it touches on everybody, like each character's individual, like their experience with the entire situation.
My favorite song is probably the Tell It, but part 2, because it really shows because I'm an Atlantean, so it shows a bunch of Atlanteans, like their story, their past, and it just gives you more of, I guess, like a background, like you know more about the person.
My favorite song is like Earth Meet Mars because I'm a Martian and it's kind of catchy.
So my favorite song is also Earth Meet Mars because even though it's showing how much the Martians want to go to Earth, it's kind of like happy, and I like that it sounds like a Broadway musical type song. So yeah, I really like it. Also because I'm a Martian, so.
It is very catchy. Yeah, it sounds like a Broadway musical song. It's ready for a whole show number. And I didn't get to teach you the choreography because right when we were going to have the rehearsal where I taught you the choreography, we all had to stay at home.
The coconut song, because even when you're sad, some people want to make you happy.
Maybe Tell It to the World. I feel like it has a really great meaning about sharing like your feelings and expressing yourself, because it's, you know, showing in a way that if you bottle things up, it's going to just overflow over some time, kind of like a pot. If you put too much in it, there's only so much it can hold. So also it's a pretty like a little bit of like a funnier song, so it kind of takes like a deep meaning with it, and then it pairs up with like song and dance. So it was pretty fun to perform it. Yeah.
Right. So Gianni,
Yeah.
do you remember what the first show was that you did with Garden Play?
Stories to Tell. Wait, no, What If? It was What If. My first year, I was a dragon, and I didn't really have that much lines. But then over the years, I've gotten more lines. In the beginning, I was just a dragon's role, and I focused all about the dragons. And now I'm in 2 different roles, so I get 2 different perspectives.
How old was I when I started? I don't know. I've been doing it for a while.
This show that we're doing right now, it's called So Far From Home, but I believe you were in the first version of this show.
Yeah, that was the very first show I ever did too. It was What If originally. I have the old playbill somewhere, and I think the script as well.
What things changed in the show, and how did your role change?
I saw some of the characters changed. There's no longer General Bob the Rat. Our class was asked to suggest characters, to come up with characters. And I had originally come up with Mother Fire Breath. I originally didn't get the role of Mother Fire Breath, since it was kind of a big role and I was new to the whole acting thing, so it's fine. It makes sense. I got Phoenix. I actually grew to really like the role that I got. I like that I got Phoenix. She tried to help the best she could, even though she wasn't exactly a dragon. She still used her wings and anything she could to help. And I really like that about her. This year, I got Mother Fire Breath! Woo! And it's kind of funny because it's coming full circle. My very first thing was What If it was the same story, and my very last one is What If, and I finally got the character that I had made and wanted.
Chloe, you have been a part of the Garden Players for quite a while.
Yeah.
When did you first join the Garden Players? What was your first show? And what has changed for you through the years?
I can't remember that. It's been so long. I might have to ask my mom on that one. Yeah, I don't know. I was little. I know that. I've learned a lot, basically, on speech and also expressing yourself in general. I feel like it's helped with different shows and with different characters. You have to kind of I've been experimenting with different personalities. I feel like with each show, each character that I've performed, it's always different. There's always like something different about each character. And so yeah, that was really fun. You know, some characters I was more comfortable with than others, and then I realized so that would probably be more of my personality than the other character. But then I would also learn how to be another character and put myself in that person's shoes, which again could help me understand, you know, like how another person feels.
And give a last wave, and then we're gonna have to do this all day.